Hi guys, I'm back. I know that I've been neglecting this podcast for a while, but life got in the way, as they say, and I haven't had time to produce new episodes for you lately. I've been to a Nomad Base Live conference. I've been to 2 T-Bex conferences, one in Washington State and one in Marbella, Spain. Plus, I've had to do a lot of work for clients. You know, I'm a podcast producer. I've been doing quite a lot for the Lego Group, for Rumble, and quite a bit for T-Bex as well. If you don't know, T-Bex does these conferences for travel content creators like me, and I'm producing and co-hosting their podcast, Travel Matters. If you're into travel and maybe travel blogging or other travel content creation, you might find that interesting too. So go look for Travel Matters. Also, I've been doing quite a bit of traveling myself. Since I was in Kenya, I've been to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Zanzibar, Denmark, Cyprus, United States, Iceland, Croatia, then back to Denmark, where I, by the way, tested positive for COVID and had to stay a bit longer before I was able to go back to Croatia, then Spain, and now I'm in Portugal. Anyway, I promise you that I will have some brand new content for you very soon. But also in the next few months, I won't have time to give you an episode every single week, as it was my goal to do. I spend around 4 full working days editing one 30-minute episode, and I can already say that I won't have time to do that every single week. The good news is that everything will come out at some point, and I got so much in the pipeline. So now we're gonna do something new. Flashback Fridays with episodes from the archive. And here's the first one. This one was released in January 2019, and it's from my trip to Morocco. Here I was traveling with a then friend of mine, and we spent a week in Rabat hunting visas for our upcoming journey to other northwestern African countries. And then I meet a local Uber driver who's not a big fan of his country and wants to leave. My name is Palabo. Welcome to Flashback Friday from Rabat in Morocco.
The best part of living in Morocco. To be honest, I don't like this culture because I'm planning to immigrate.
That must be one thing.
That's weird.
No. Meet Palabo, a digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. My name is Palabo, and I'm a long-time radio producer. In 2013, I started planning to become a digital nomad and a full-time traveler. 3 years later, I had sold my house, my car, and all my furniture. And in July 2016, I set out on a quest to visit every country in the world. In this podcast, I'm taking you along on my journey. And I'm sharing my ups and downs and let you listen in to conversations with some interesting people I meet along the way. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast. We're in Rabat trying desperately to get a taxi. And we were talking about before, I wonder what the locals do in order to get a taxi. But I think we just saw that because someone just walked in front of us and got into the taxi before we could even do anything. And that's not the first time that happened. When we just came off the train, a girl did the same. Yeah. So when will we ever learn?
Yes.
I think we need to be
the
more...
Danish politeness is not working here.
Yeah, we need to be a little bit more...
Less polite.
Less polite, more aggressive in order to get the taxi. We learned a lesson from our troubles getting a taxi on the street. So we booked an Uber when we were about to continue our visa hunt, even though Uber is technically not legal in Morocco. And the first Uber driver was a 22-year-old guy who turned out to be pretty good in English. He seemed intelligent and like a guy with a lot of dreams for himself and his country. In other words, someone who could represent the new generation of Morocco. So I decided to give him the 5 questions that didn't work out so well in Fez. And opposite to the old guy there, that I could not get to say anything negative about Morocco, not even something like, well, it is pretty hot here. It was the opposite with our Uber driver. He had a hard time finding anything good to say. His name is Jad.
Jad Hamdawi. The last name is Hamdawi.
And Jad, you're our Uber driver.
Yes, I'm an Uber driver in Morocco.
Even though it's illegal.
It's illegal, but we do it. So we have no choice. So.
No. Okay, I have 5 questions for you. Question number 1 is, what's the best part about living in Morocco?
The best part of living in Morocco? All right. To be honest, I don't like this country because I'm planning to immigrate. So
there must be one thing.
One thing that I like. Okay, that's weird. No, like literally nothing.
Okay.
To be honest, yeah.
Okay. The next one might be more easy for you. What's the worst part about living here?
The worst part about living here is like there is no job opportunities for people. Like even if you have a degree or even if you study for long years, it's not easy to find a job. And the worst thing too is if you know someone in like a department of you need something, you need to know someone stronger that have power to help you in this country. That's the worst thing that I don't like in this country. Plus the way of thinking of people are way, I would say, late compared to other countries. I mean,
okay.
I don't know if you get it or not.
I get it.
All right.
So
yeah, that's it.
If you were the supreme leader, if you had all the power of this country, what would be the first law that you would say? What would be your first decision in this country? What would you change?
If I had the power, what I would change? Okay, good question. I would invest more and like offer more job opportunities like to young people. That I would do, because the things that touch me. So that's the thing that I would do first, like invest in this country so people would not think of immigration and go to other countries to have a better quality of living. That's it. That the quality of living in this country that I would change.
Yeah.
So, and trying to copy Europe or America in some of the stuff.
Is it a country with a lot of corruption?
Yeah, they exist a lot. Yeah, for sure.
If you won the lottery, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do?
For myself, I would invest. Like I would. For me personally, I'm interested in sports and nutrition. So what I would do is, like for me personally, I would open some few gyms, and maybe invest in like food supplement store or something. That's what I would do.
And the last question, if you could travel to any country in the world, where would you go?
US. USA. That's the country I would love to go.
The land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
Land of opportunities.
Land of opportunities, yes.
So is that your dream? Is it possible to get a green card, you think, for a Moroccan?
No. Unless if you won the lottery.
Yeah, like then they might accept you. Okay, you can come. Yeah. This episode is brought to you in part by this website called hotels25.com. If you're a regular listener, you have heard me mention this before, and I can't say this enough. This is a cool website. It helps you find the cheapest hotel rooms around the world. Hotels25.com. You should try it out. It actually works. we're at the Mauritanian embassy in order to get visa for Mauritania. And as we came in, we walked through a garden. Nobody followed us and just said, you need to go over there. We found the office. A guy, he made some notes and sent us off to a bank for us to pay the 690 dirhams. And then now we're back. My friend Edwards has been asked to come inside, and I'm waiting in the tiny front room here at the embassy. So now Edward's just been at the local market here in the Medina in Rabat buying, what's it, tomatoes?
No, they're not tomatoes. They're these orange fruits. They're very sweet inside. I don't know the name of them, but they're absolutely amazing. And it's not good when you're not sure about the numbers, because he told me tres. I was like, oh, that's 30. So he gave me back 7. I was like, oh, that's good. But it's 13, not 30. So he gave me back the extra 20. Yeah. Good price. 13... How much? Dirham? 13 dirham is about €1 for a kilo.
Yeah, pretty good. But remember to wash them in bottled water.
So here's the thing: you cut these open and you eat the inside.
Okay.
You need the shell.
Yeah, that's it. So Edward, we're continuing. It's our chat from the train. It was like almost a week ago.
Oh yeah.
And we never finished it. Now We've been living here in Rabat in a crummy little apartment. And
I liked it. It was not so bad. I've lived worse places.
Yeah.
But it was not as in the pictures, no, for sure.
It was in the pictures, but it looked bigger in the pictures.
Yeah, you can't say they're Photoshop because they're not. It's just that the photos made it seem like there was an extra room somewhere. And more space.
Yeah, but I looked at the pictures after, and it looked exactly like it. So you can't really complain much about it.
So just we were being silly and thought it was more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, where we left the talk, you were in Australia.
Oh yeah.
And I'm dying to hear what happened next.
So I'd come to Australia, right? And within a few weeks, then I managed to get a job.
Doing what?
Well, I did a few odd jobs. I think the first thing I did was telemarketing. Just because it's so easy getting a job in telemarketing. Yeah, nobody wants a job in telemarketing, so you can get pretty easy to get one. And I worked there for a few weeks, and it was torture. I hated it. And then I had a job, which was they told us we were doing marketing research, and we were checking out in terms of their vans if they were doing the right routes. So we got a car to follow a van around to see where they were doing deliveries. And eventually I found a job that I stayed in for the next 12 months while I was there, which was as a fundraiser on the streets, also called a charity mugger, and collecting funds for Mission Australia, Oxfam, Red Cross Australia, different charities. Now that was a lot of fun because I got to meet people and I was good at the job, and I eventually progressed into being a team leader as well, so working that full time, building my own team and everything. And that was really where my journey of adventuring started, because I only came home, something tragic happened. My dad called me one night and asked me if I was sitting down. He tells me then that my brother, Andreas, 26 at the time, he's dead. So I had to go home, attend the funeral, bury my brother, and that was kind of the end of the adventure. And after that, I didn't have the same energy for traveling like I did before, so I stayed in Denmark until now.
Tell me a little bit about your brother's death.
Oh, it's not a nice story. It's really not. He was doing drugs, and we didn't think he was that heavy on it, but he had been in an accident coma before. And when he came back, we were like, welcome back from the realm of the dead. And he was like, oh, I kind of wish I'd stayed. So I kind of knew that he wanted to end his life, and he was heading in that direction. I had an idea of like, because one of the things that he struggled with a lot was women. My mother neglected him a lot and wasn't there for him. So he had a lot of anger towards women, and he was very lonely because of that. So I had an idea of like, I would learn in Australia how to pick up women, how to get girls, so I could teach that to him when I came back. And I was getting pretty good. Like, I'd find a girl that I was like engaged to, and I was like gonna marry this woman and everything. And I was getting pretty good at like how to like, pick up a girl and do all that stuff. So I was actually planning to go back and teach him that at some point, to like show him, well, this is how you do that, so you don't have to be lonely anymore. Never got that opportunity though, because he then did an overdose. He mixed up methadone and cocaine and I think amphetamines, and that's a toxic combination that will kill you. And it did.
And I know that this was in 2010 because I'm looking at your arm.
Yes. I've got a lot of tattoos, and they're all very meaningful and symbolic for my life. They're important memories that I formed. And one of them was my brother's name, his birth date and year, and the death of his death year. I didn't write in the day he died, because then forever that day would be like a sad day. I'm like, I don't want to be like, oh, now it's May. I think it was like May or June. I can't remember actually now. Might have been April even, but it was around that time. And then like every year I'd be like, uh-oh, here comes the 5th of April, and now I'm going to be sad again because my brother died. I'm like, no, you know what? 2010, that was the end of that story. And to always remember him, I have his memory here on my arm.
And he was 26?
26, yeah. Yeah. He was a really good guy. He was a really nice guy. But he was too nice, and it was too easy for people to take advantage of him. So he always got in with the wrong crowd, and he always got taken for a ride. People would take his money, would take his, his company, would take him in so many different ways. It just wasn't fair. So his defense was to get really tough and really strong. If you met him, you'd be scared of him because he was a big guy, and he did fighting sports, and he was quite aggressive because he was like pushing people away to protect himself. But again, that makes you so fucking lonely. If you're walking around being aggressive towards people to push them away to protect yourself, you're gonna be more and more lonely, and you're gonna miss that company. And that's what he was doing. So women he was scaring off, and the only one who dared come close to him were, the gangs and the bad people. I wouldn't, not bad people, but the people on the wrong side of what I would call healthy.
You're listening to the Radio Vagabond podcast. Before we continue, I want to remind you that I have a Facebook page where I share a lot of thoughts, pictures, and videos. You'll find it by going to facebook.com/PalaRadioVagabond. And now, back to the show.
Your residence, Morocco or Denmark?
Denmark.
Denmark. Ça va, je vous ai appelé plusieurs fois. Carnet vaccination.
I had the vaccination, but I don't have the card.
Ah, okay. Visa for 1 month or
One month.
1 month, 800 dirham.
800?
Yes, 3 months, 2 entries, 1200 dirhams.
Okay.
6 months, multiple entry,
Yeah.
1500 dirhams.
One month.
1 month, 800 dirhams.
What does that do to a younger brother to lose his brother like that?
Oh. I fell apart. I fell into a hard depression. The fiance I had, she left because she couldn't take it, and I couldn't deal maybe as well. I don't know. I'm glad she left today because obviously not the right choice. If she was only there when it was fun and we were traveling together, and the moment it gets hard, she's gone. I'm glad I didn't marry her. But I was depressed for a very long time, and I didn't sort out my life. I was self-abandoning. I was drinking, just kind of pushing it away and trying to push it down. I don't feel this. I don't recognize it. But it was eating me from inside. And I was studying, and it was the stupidest thing, but I was studying in a university, and I didn't have a certificate for my English levels. as you can hear, my English is fairly good, and it's like I worked here in Australia in sales, so it's no problem. But I didn't have the certificate saying that I'm proficient in English A levels, and so I managed to get into the university on what was called merit or something, where I had to prove at a later time that I had the certificate. But I thought I just had to show up and prove, hey, I speak English. So I didn't realize that I actually had to get the paper that said I know English, and I didn't. So during the first semester, we're doing our projects, and this is right after the death of my brother. I just went straight to school, trying to take my mind off things. All of a sudden, I get a letter a month before the deadline of our hand-in for the first semester, saying, you have to leave the school. You're kicked out. And I was like, this is crazy. This is a mistake. I called them, this is got to be a mistake. No. You don't have the certificate, you're out. I'm like, what? We were in the middle of handing in this thing. I've got the team together. I had my own little student project, and we've done everything. We're almost done with it. And the school went and told my group that they couldn't hand in with me because they would get in trouble. And I was like, no, we got to hand in together, because if I don't hand this in, then I won't be passing the first semester, and I'll be fucked. I can't start over, and I have to start over next year or something. And the group was like, well, the teachers told us we can't deliver with you, that if we do that, they're going to fail us. So we have no choice. And what I did was then I spent an entire weekend working Friday to Sunday, tired, without sleeping pretty much. I made the whole project myself, 20, 30 pages, website and everything. Handed it in Monday. They wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take the assignment because I wasn't signed up for the school anymore. And so I had to put it in an envelope and then mail it to them on the same day, because it was the day of the delivery. And they got it, and there was a whole drama about it. And I had a lawyer. My stepdad was trying to help me out with that. We were making a whole big deal out of it. I really should have just been you know what, okay, you know English, fine, let's come back to school. But I had to go to London to make a TOEFL test. I did that, and then I came back and talked to the university board, and eventually they came to the agreement that yes, I was allowed to go to the school again next year. So I got all the stuff, I delivered all the things, and they were like, next year. And I'm like, you know what, fuck this. And then I didn't have anything to do. I was on contingent, been living off some savings I had, and I just fell apart. I think 3 or 4 months of just my whole identity collapsing. I'd lost my brother, I lost my fiance, and I'd lost the only thing that I was fighting for at the time, which was my school. And it was not a good time. It was not a pretty picture. It was, my colon disease. I was bleeding a lot from my colon. I was depressed. I was sleeping a lot and thinking a lot about suicide as well. That was on my main concern. And I had this moment where I was standing in front of the mirror with this kitchen knife pressed against my arm, and telling myself, just do it. This world is not for you. Get out of it. Escape, kill yourself. I was very close to it. I wouldn't cut you hear these stories about people that cut not with the veins, but against them. So it's kind of the shoulder vein. So you see people with these small cuts. I wasn't holding the knife that way. I was holding it against the entire forearm, facing down the main vein. And if I'd cut that, I would have bled to death. It wouldn't have been oh, it's a cry for help. No, it would have been, I'm done here. But a small voice told me, this is not how this story should end. This is not where I'm going with my life. And kind of stubbornness has come up and said, you know what, fuck this. Let's see what we can make of it. So from that, it's also another of my tattoo stories is I have on my back a tattoo of the devil and a phoenix, which is basically rising out of the darkness kind of thing. So whatever bad happens in the past, leave it in the past and then come from it stronger. And I did that here as well. And then I found direction in my life and happiness as well.
And I can take anything you can throw at me, and nothing can get me down. Life is looking so bright, the sun is up again. I'm feeling like I could fly. No clouds in my way, no. And I'm living the good life. And I'm living the good life now. I'm living the good life, and nothing can get me down, no.
So we've just been to embassy number 4 and got the visa for Guinea-Bissau. So now we have Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, and tomorrow we are picking up the final one that we went to the first day, which is Mauritania. And And that means that we can now start planning how to get to these countries that we're going to, heading south from here in Morocco. And a lot of the countries we don't need a visa, but these are the 4 countries that we need visa for this leg of the journey. So we're almost set to go, but we're thinking about spending a little bit of time in Marrakesh as well. We hear that it's a very nice place, and also it's probably going to be one of the last places where we can be sort of sure to have some kind of decent Wi-Fi. And we both need to do some work the next 7 to 10 days. So we need Wi-Fi. So we don't want to embark on going to Mauritania before we have this work finished. And Marrakesh seems like a nice place to do it. And there should be a lot to see. This morning I was looking in how to get from country to country, and for some reason I got into my head that flying from country to country here in Africa would be fairly cheap, but it's not at all. So now we're actually looking into some way of getting from country to country overland. That means in buses, in private taxis, in shared taxis, in minivans, and that's going to be quite an adventure, I think. It would be around 1/10 of the price to go to these countries. So it's probably going to be a lot tougher than flying, but that's the plan right now. But let's see. Maybe we'll land some great clients and get the money and just think, oh, screw it, let's fly.
That's more likely, because do you play the lottery at all?
Want to win? Gotta play. I forgot about that.
This episode was brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. Best price guaranteed. My name is Palle Bo. See ya.